Hello everyone, Minute Plus Meditation, Wednesday, January the 5th. From the first reading, we're still in 1 John, now chapter 4, 11 to 18. Love has been perfected among us in this, that we have the boldness on the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in this world. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment, and whoever fears has not reached perfection in love. Again, this takes some, it sounds really great, right? Some people say, my conscience doesn't condemn me, and, perfect love casts out all fear. So, we love each other, we hear all these things, and therefore, somehow that makes everything okay. But the fact is, we have to discern the spirits, as, the reading was a couple of days ago. We have to read all of St. John's first letter and not just sort of pick and choose from it, pick and choose what we want, kind of like going through the supermarket and then interpreting it according to our own inclinations or, our own desires, our own sort of modernistic way of, of understanding this. So love has been perfected among us in this, we have the boldness on the day of judgment. Now remember, this all takes into account the day of judgment, that God the Son, God the second person of the Trinity, has become one of us, has lived among us, has taught us the truth. So he's taught us his word, the gospel. It's recorded in the Gospels, and he's was willing to die on the cross, sacrifice himself for our good, and then of course rose and ascended into heaven. So it's not just about me and God, it's about me and the church and God, because Jesus founded a church. It's not just about me and God. So it's not that I can just decide to do whatever I want to do or kind of make up my own rules or, all that kind of stuff. It's just, fine, we can do that. And, I can't see into a person's conscience, and who knows how they're going to be before God, but they had better be, upright, clean, and pure. When they go into the presence of the infinitely holy and pure one. We all have to be. But are they living in accord with objective truth? Or are they just doing whatever they want to do, because that's what they want to do? That's all going to be burned away. There's not going to be negotiations with God. There's not going to be any dialogue. There's no debating society. We're going to see everything in the light of what is really true and good and right. So this is what true love is. It's pure. There's no dissimulation. There's no subterfuge. There's no dodging. It's pure. It's transparent. It is holy. It is clean. All those things. So there is no fear in love. True love, there is no fear, because the conscience is truly upright. We have formed our conscience according to objective truth. Many people in our world today don't believe in objective truth. They believe, basically, when it comes right down to it, making up their own truth, or at least the truth that doesn't hurt anybody. It's called moral relativism. And this is just not going to hold up with God. Jesus wasn't about, well, you're okay and I'm okay, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and if you don't want to accept it, that's okay. Everything will be fine in the end. It's not that simple. So we really have to be willing, to form our conscience properly. It's a major undertaking in our society today, because I suspect that most people, really don't even know what a conscience is. So, okay, so that's enough. Just kind of spark your reflections and your meditations for the first reading, if you want to do so. The Gospel, Mark chapter 6, verses 45 to 52 now. Now, of course, Jesus gets into the boat. He feeds the 5,000 and, with the loaves and fish, and then he has everybody, depart, and then he makes time to pray. So, remember, he wanted to go away with his disciples to a lonely place to pray. Got out of the boat, saw these people, had compassion on them, and he gave himself for their good. So he taught them, and then he fed them, which is a foreshadow of the Holy Eucharist. But then don't think that Jesus wasn't thinking, he was focused on their need, but he was also, preparing in his mind and his heart for that time to be with his Father. And then After saying farewell to them, he went up on the mountain to pray. When evening came, the boat was out on the sea, and so on. So Jesus spent a lot of hours in prayer with his Father. He made that time. I could say he was intentional, but he truly desired it. You and I have to cultivate, pray for the intention, pray for the desire. That's what we want in our life. So even if we sense that we're resisting this because of laziness, lethargy, conflicting desires, all that kind of stuff, some people are actually scared to pray because they don't know what they're going to do in the silence. They don't know what they're going to do should God ask them to do something and they're not prepared to do it. We just have to kind of risk. God is not going to give you or me something more than we can handle. We have to trust him at some point, or we're never going to pray. We're always going to be running. So, I mean, there's so much here, about it gets into the boat, and the storm calms down, and so on. But I just want to again emphasize how important it is, to make that time to pray. I think in some ways, this is the most important thing that we have to do in the Catholic Church. Is if every Catholic, just think about this, if every Catholic made an effort to do a holy hour, and it's possible, I don't care who you are. Bishop Sheen used to teach this to lay people, and this was back in the 60s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, and there was many lay people with large families, anywhere from 3 to 5 to 6 children. He preached the holy hour. There's ways to do this. You got to be creative. You got to be intentional. Of course, that's when they didn't have TVs in every home, 3 TVs, computers, and everything. We have to be intentional. That this is the most important thing, because from that everything else flows. The care of the children, spouse, everything, all that it flows. It's all going to be sort of brought together. And at least to start with a half an hour. I know that's demanding, but God is demanding. And Sheen taught it. Saint Escriva, he taught all the members of the Opus Dei. Many of them have 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 children. They make an effort to do this every day. I do it every day. Many priests don't do this because they say, I'm too busy. You're too busy, you're too busy. That's the problem. We got to make time for God. God will make time for us. So be convinced of the importance. Be intentional about getting away and praying. God bless you.